Everyone inside the church froze the moment the German Shepherd burst through the doors. It was Emma's wedding day, white dress flowing, flowers glowing, guests smiling. Everything was perfect. Until her loyal police dog, Shadow, suddenly appeared in the aisle, barking with desperate urgency. At first, people laughed, assuming he was excited, but Emma knew her partner better than anyone. Shadow never barked without a reason. And today, his eyes weren't playful, they were terrified. He blocked her path, teeth bared, refusing to let her take another step toward the groom waiting at the altar. Guests whispered. The groom's smile cracked. Emma's heart pounded. Why was Shadow acting like this? Why today, of all days? What Emma didn't know was that her canine partner had uncovered a secret, one so devastating, so dangerous that he was willing to ruin the entire wedding to save her. And when the truth finally came out, no one in that church was ready. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The morning sunlight spilled gently through the window as Emma stood before the mirror, smoothing the delicate lace of her wedding gown. Her heart fluttered with excitement. Today was the day she had dreamed of since she was a little girl. Everything felt perfect. Everything. Except Shadow. Her loyal canine partner sat silently in the corner, ears pinned back, eyes locked on her like a worried guardian. Normally, Shadow wagged his tail at the sight of her dress uniform or leaned into her touch with calm affection. But today, he wouldn't come near her. Shadow boy. What's wrong? Emma whispered, kneeling. He stepped back, not out of fear, out of warning. Emma's maid of honor laughed nervously. Maybe he senses the excitement. But Emma felt a tiny twist in her chest. Shadow had been trained to detect threats, lies, and danger better than any human could. Yet today of all days, why did he seem afraid for her? Nothing could ruin her wedding day. At least, that's what she believed then. As guests filled the church, Shadow's uneasiness only worsened. He paced the length of the hallway outside Emma's dressing room, nails tapping anxiously against the floor. Every time someone approached the door, he stepped in front of them, blocking the way with a low, warning rumble. Even the wedding coordinator froze in fear. Shadow. Stop it, Emma called gently, but the dog didn't budge. When the groom arrived for final photos, Shadow's reaction was immediate. He growled, ears flat, tail stiff. The groom laughed awkwardly. Guess he's jealous you're not marrying him. But Emma's stomach tightened. Shadow had never reacted like that to anyone, not even suspects during raids. Moments later, as Emma prepared to walk down the aisle, Shadow planted himself in front of the door again. Her bridesmaids tried luring him away with treats. He ignored them. He kept his eyes fixed on Emma and the aisle beyond her. Shadow, please, Emma whispered, trying to slip past him. He stepped sideways, blocking her path again, but Shadow did, and he was determined to stop Emma from taking another step toward the altar. Emma took a deep breath and stepped forward, bouquet trembling in her hands. Bridesmaids glided ahead of her. Cameras flashed. Everyone turned to admire the bride, but Shadow moved first. Before Emma could take a second step, he shot past her, charging straight down the aisle with a sharp, urgent bark that echoed through the church. Gasps rose from the crowd as he skidded to a stop between Emma and the groom. Hackles raised, teeth bared in warning. "Shadow." "No," Emma cried. The groom's smile evaporated. His jaw clenched, eyes narrowing in frustration rather than fear. "Get that animal out of here," he snapped, voice cracking through the silence. Guests stared at him, shocked. Shadow didn't flinch. He held his ground, body rigid, eyes locked on the groom as if he were a threat. Emma tried stepping forward, but Shadow growled, blocking her again. "Emma, control your dog." The groom barked, his temper exposing an edge she had never heard before. The priest hesitated. The guests whispered. And Emma froze. Shadow wasn't confused. He was protecting her. From what? She didn't yet know, but Shadow did. Chaos filled the church, but in Shadow's mind, everything was crystal clear. He wasn't attacking. He was warning. Emma's heart pounded as she knelt beside him, trying to calm him, but Shadow pressed his nose against her hand, then looked desperately toward the groom as if begging her to see what he already knew. And then Emma remembered just 3 days earlier. During her final dress fitting, Shadow had suddenly run into the back room of the bridal shop, knocking over mannequins and tearing open a pocket of the groom's suit jacket. She had scolded him, embarrassed, not knowing why he acted that way, but now it made terrible sense. Shadow had smelled something, because tucked inside that jacket pocket hidden in the lining was a small metal badge. Emma hadn't recognized at first. A hospital badge, belonging to a woman she had never heard of. Shadow had growled at it for minutes. That evening, Shadow refused to leave the suit. Emma thought he was being dramatic. But the truth was far uglier. Shadow had detected another woman's scent on the groom. A woman he had been visiting, a woman he had lied about, and Shadow had been trying to warn Emma ever since. Emma's breath caught as the pieces snapped together like a punch to the stomach. She stood slowly, eyes fixed on the groom, on the man she was minutes away from marrying. "Who is she?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The groom stiffened. "Emma, not here." "This isn't the time," Shadow barked sharply, stepping between them again. "Answer me," Emma demanded, the tremble in her voice turning into fire. A murmur rippled across the church. Guests leaned forward, sensing the truth unraveling. The groom's face reddened. "She's nobody. You're overreacting." "Control your dog," Shadow growled louder, pushing Emma back as if protecting her from the lies spilling out. Emma's maid of honor rushed forward, holding up a phone. "Emma, you need to see this." Her eyes were filled with pain. A message thread glowed on the screen. Dates, hotel addresses, photos. The same name from the hospital badge. Conversations filled with promises the groom never made to Emma. The room spun. "You lied to me?" Emma whispered, tears burning her cheeks. "You were with her while planning our wedding?" The groom snapped. "I said it's not what it looks like." But Shadow lunged, barking furiously, telling everyone exactly what it was. The truth, and Emma's heart shattered in front of the entire church. Silence filled the church, heavy, painful, undeniable. Emma wiped her tears, her hands trembling, but Shadow pressed against her leg, grounding her with quiet strength. She looked at the groom one last time, seeing not the man she loved, but the man he truly was, "This wedding is over," Emma whispered. Gasps echoed. The groom stepped forward in panic. "Emma, don't do this." "We can fix," Shadow growled, forcing him back. Emma shook her head. "You didn't just betray me. You betrayed the future we were supposed to build." And Shadow tried to warn me. Long before today. The groom's shoulders slumped, exposed, defeated. Emma turned away, walking back up the aisle not as a broken bride, but as a woman choosing herself. Guests rose in support, forming a quiet path around her. Shadow walked beside her, proud, protective, loyal. Outside, the sun had broken through the clouds, warm rays resting on Emma's gown. She knelt and wrapped her arms around Shadow. "You saved me," she whispered. Again, Shadow licked her cheek gently, his eyes soft and full of understanding. Emma stood tall. Her wedding day hadn't ended the way she imagined. It ended better, because she walked away with the one soul who had never lied to her, her loyal partner.